This conference will now be recorded.
So let me go through all the issues that we face in the log shipping. Then I'll take up all your questions. Fine. So our primary was SQL2 and the second was SQL default instance, right? Yesterday, what we have done. Fine. So there are three databases are involved, but there will be a question. How do you identify what are the database are involved in log shipping and the primary server? There is nothing is written beside to the database, but on the target you can find the standby read-only mode. Mostly where you see the status is log shipping secondary database generally 99%. So now how do we identify on the primary? That will be a question. There are two ways to find it. One is go to the right click on the server name, go to the report, standard report, then transaction log shipping status at the end of it. When you click over that, it will tell us the list of databases which are primary and secondary, all of them. Okay, so it is saying that alert is there for this. What is happened for this? Actually, backup is not happened since 13:56 minutes. So the backup is not happening. Why it is not happening? We need to check that. We'll see that. So these are all under alert basically at the moment. Now what I'll do, I'll go to, this is something wizard. I can go to the server, I can go to the report, standard reports, and at the end of it, you'll find it. If I wanted to find the same information through query, we can also use a query. So the queries are in the Msdb. Why? Because log shipping is something automated, right? So all automation information in the Msdb. So read in the Msdb. Select asterisk from log shipping primary. Queries are very familiar. Log shipping, log shipping primary databases. If you run this query, it will also display complete databases which are involved in log shipping. Okay. Either you find this report or else you run this command. Both will tell you how many databases are involved into the log shipping on the server. How do you identify? This is how you identify on the server. Now if I go back to the alert system, there are alerts on all databases. It is complaining that for all databases there is no backup. There is no backup is happened because my laptop went into the sleep mode, so the backup might not run. That's why it is alerting. So if we wanted to get automated alert automatically when the jobs are not running more than 1 hour, you wanted to get an alert. Basically there are by default you will get two alerts by default. The system will create the alerts, you don't need to create it actually. Log shipping primary server alert, there will be an alert 14420. If this alert is throwing, then you need to understand that backup is not running because of any reason for more than 1 hour. So now I can go to here. Instead of this, I did not configure the db mail on this. Maybe another one. Let me see here. Reports, standard reports, transaction log shipping status. Here also it is failing. Here also in the secondary also it is failing. Why it is failing? Because last restore time is this many hours back it was happened. Why? Because my laptop under sleep mode. That's why the jobs did not run. If I run manually, they will be successful. But if I wanted to enable the alerts, go to here. Okay, I did not configure the dbmail on this server. That's why it is not showing the response as an operator. There is no operator, there is no dbmail configuration on this. This one we have done, I feel. I guess we have not done this one. Okay, we have done other server. So we are not going to configure the DBML for the sake of this itself. So we have already done that. Like it is very, very simple. Just go to the alerts. Like you need to configure the DBML before you enable this. And then you create the operator before you configure it again. Send the response to notify operator. Whatever the operators are available, check. There is a radio button. You just have to check, then that person will get the alert. The backup is not happening for more than 1 hour, not happening for more than 45 minutes. For copy restore 45 minutes threshold, for backup 1 hour threshold by default. Now these are under alert. If you look at here, here also alert, here also alert. So if I wanted to clear the alert, I will run the backup manually. Class backup, and here also I'll run for all database. I'm running the backup manually. Now if I run this job will fail if your backups are not running for more than 1 hour. This job, now it will run to success. It's not running to success. Then let us see the report, what it is saying. Alerts are still there. Excellent, very good. So why it is there? It is successful. Backup is successful, then why it is still showing the as an alert? Backup is not tracking by the system, it seems. Maybe 2019 it is, so I don't know how it is behaves, but the backup is happened on the server. So how do we say that the backup is happened? Let me find the network paths. So I have configured already log shipping. I wanted to know the network path and all. I wanted to know it. Select asterisk from sys log shipping. First use Msdb. What I'm trying to say here is I've already configured log shipping. Now I wanted to know the network path where I have moving the backups on the primary server. So go to the secondary and find it. On the second primary you don't find it all the details. Log shipping secondary database. This is where you find the details about the log shipping. Log shipping primary, it should be secondary. Secondaries and secondary. So if I run this command, it will tell us the actual backup path we have used for the network path for the taking the backup. So these are the backup paths what we have used as a network path. So now if I go back to here, I'm running the log backup for class database, assume a case. Fine. So now I'll go to one of the folder and check the backups are there or not. System is not detecting it. It has some bugs, I guess. The backup is running, I feel. So at what time this backup is run? 16:03 and it is 8:19. It ran. Backup is ran, but system is not detecting. Why? Because it seems it's not a stable product, guys. This is 2019. It's a trial. It's not even a RTM version. It is something they are released as a trial version. It's not into the production. Maybe it has some bugs, I feel. It has to write the details. What is the last log backup was done? What the file it was copied last? Both the details will be available in these columns. Why it is not writing? It is strange. Fine, we can troubleshoot the issues, don't worry. Let's ignore these alerts for time being. It will clear when you run the jobs manually or when the jobs runs, they should clear automatically. If system is detecting these backup these backups are running on the system, right? System should detect and then write the details into the report. I'm not sure why it is doing all that crap. Maybe it's not a stable version yet, it seems. So I ran for all servers, for all databases, copy and restore. So all alerts should be cleared basically. It's not cleared means not detecting the backup files. Okay, that's why it is not giving the entries. This product is not stable then, 2019. Whatever I downloaded from the net, it is not even RTM, guys. This is not RTM. If you look at here, this is a public preview version what I have downloaded, because officially they have not released the stable version yet. This is CTB2. It's not RTM yet. It is under preview. It's not live yet. Maybe they did not updated this area in the lock shipping into this version. But still, product will work. It is not just updating, but I can show you how to troubleshoot the issues. No need to worry. Just assume that these all went into the good mode. Why? Because we ran the jobs and the files are getting created. How do I know the files are getting created? Now I know this paths, network path, and this is the local path. So for which database were checking here? We were checking for some database, right? Here, which database? Class database. So what I'll do, I can go to here. What happened? So this is a local path. So if I look at what is the latest log backup which is copied, 16.3.8.19. So just now, just few minutes ago, it is copied, the file is available, but the system is not written in the report. It should write, but it has some bugs. It seems product is not stable yet. That's why these are alerts not going away. Once you run the backup, these alerts should go away, and then status should become good actually. That's what expected. As it is in preview, maybe that part is not updated, but assume that they are good. So now, what are the generic issues we do face? So there will be a question on the numbers 14420. What is the error number 14420 in log shipping? They will ask that question because that is a known error for everyone who are working on the log shipping. 14420 means your backup is not happened for more than 1 hour. That number indicates that when the mail is firing out, it will fire with the number 14420. Whenever you see the 14420, you need to understand that backup job is failed on the primary for more than 1 hour. And the 14421, how does it getting that number? It is getting from the existing alerts itself. If I go to here, there are alerts created, and if I come here, there is a 14420. If this error is raising out, then backup is failing on the primary for more than 1 hour. If I go to secondary alert, it is 14421. If this error is coming up, then you need to understand that copy or restore jobs are failing more than 45 minutes. What is the reason it is failing? You need to troubleshoot. That is a different case. But if you get that number, means there is an indication that copy or restore job is failing if it is 14421. If it is 14420, then backup job is failing on the primary for more than 1 hour. Reason it will not tell you, it just says that those also backup is failed, kind of the number indicates. But reasons, how do we find them? I have a document on it. I'll send it out for this. So there are many things we need to discuss in this document. Yesterday I have already done the configuration. The configuration part is already there. Every wizard, every step is mentioned. Just go through it. Like however I did, the same steps have been mentioned in the whole material.
I have not received any document.
I did not send it first.
Okay.
So this is something about log shipping. Just go through it. Basically, look at this. That it will create basically four jobs. One is alert job. If any of the backup copy restore jobs are failing, it will alert. Based on the alert number, you need to understand 14420, 14421. But the basic functionality of the log shipping depends on these three jobs: backup, copy, restore. Backup will present on the primary server, which will take the backup every 15 minutes, copy into network share, and the copy job present on the secondary server, which will copy the transaction log backup from network share to local drive. Restore job which will present on secondary server, which will pick up the transaction logs in the sequential order from the local drive and restore into secondary database. That you have to explain. These jobs are also saying that theoretically, okay? So you need to explain that. Requirements. Minimum 2 servers are required. Database must be in full recovery, bulk recovery model. Any of the editions, and both should be same. Edition, enterprise, standard, workgroup, but on the target also, it should be matched. Both servers should have the same correlation settings. Correlation is something data format. Data format on the server. Let me say something very quickly. If I go to the server, there will be some correlation on the server defined by default when you install. This is called server correlation. Source server correlation and the target server correlation must be same. Must be same means data format. Correlation defines your data format, how your data has to be. CP1 CI means case insensitive. CP1 case sensitive. CS will be there. In that case, you can only update like lowercase or uppercase, not the combination. Not need to worry. This is a universal correlation. We use this correlation on all servers, except they are not telling us specifically they need some correlation. Generally, by default, we'll go with the default correlation, which is a universal correlation. Okay, fine. That must be there. And both the service agent must be running. If the SQL Server agent is down, your log shipping will be down. Why? Because it's running through the jobs. If the jobs are not running, then you are gone. Both servers should be running on the domain account. Generally, domain account means domain account can go to the out of the server, the network share, and then read write. Permission you can apply out of the machine when the account is domain. In the real time, all services run through the domain accounts only. Okay, we don't run through the local accounts in real time generally. Why? Because local accounts are limited to local machine only. It cannot be authorized to to get permissions out of the machine. So we run on the domain accounts, and both the servers you should have. Yeah,
Okay. I mean, the domain account means like suppose like if I'm working with the Dell means Dell/Kiran like
right,
that.
right,
Okay.
right. That's correct.
Okay. Then.
All domain accounts. And both the servers, we should have sysadmin relays to configure the log shipping. You need to have a sysadmin relays to do it. Okay. Steps to configure. Check the recovery model of the database. It must be full and bulk logged. Take the full and transactional. Transactional not required. You just take the full backup. It will sync up with the log backup next time. No need to worry. You need to restore the database in standby mode or no recovery. It is standby only mandatorily. Why? Because you choose a identical version. If you are when you're doing the log shipping between the cross versions, then it will be no recovery. When you don't do that basically, but if you're very badly you have to do it between the cross versions, you cannot do the log shipping configuration by keeping the database in standby. Why? Because when you're restoring itself, it will not allow. You have to keep in no recovery only. That's what I said in the yesterday discussion here. A version must be same to restore a database in standby mode. If it is a different, it will go into the no recovery. Sorry. So that's something keep in mind. And then configure the jobs will be done by the setup. Alerts will be set up. Configure the link servers. Basically, link servers is not required here. Link servers created in the replication. This portion I can skip it. Fine. So now configuration. What we have to do, you have to choose, go to SMS and take 2 instances, and then you take the, go to the database task, ship transaction logs. This wizard will pop up. Then you click on it, enable it, and then give the network path, keep as it is, everything. And then you can, if you wanted to change the schedule, then click over the schedule and change it. Yesterday I did it, right? So if you wanted to do it, if you at all you wanted to do it even after the configuration also, we can do it. I can go to database properties. Here backup setting, and here are the you have the schedule. See here 15 minutes. If I wanted to edit, I can edit the schedule. So schedule is here. I can edit the schedule if I wanted to edit it. So that's what I was saying in the screenshot. Like if you wanted to change the scheduler For the backup, you can do it here. 5 minutes I kept. That's fine. So secondary databases, you'll add it, you'll connect it. If it is initialized, it will go to the last option. If you don't initialize, it will choose the first option. Yesterday we have seen this as well, like automatic initialization. First option. System will take the backup automatically into the network path. From the network path, it will restore into secondary in standby mode. It will restore in standby mode. Why? Because you choose here as this one. This one standby, disconnect the user standby mode. If you choose no recovery, it will restore in the no recovery only. So you have to choose always this. So then it will be created and then it will be configured. Then backup will be shown in the network path. Right, this and all we have seen. And database will be shown as a standby mode. And then you see the jobs. LS backup job on the primary, and alerts will be there on the primary. Like one is primary alert, secondary alert, and second on the secondary server you find copy job, a restore job. Okay, and then we have done the data insert, and then I ran the jobs. When I run the jobs, data was reflected in the secondary. That's what the same thing here it is discussed in the material. And configuring the alert, so you just have to go to the SQL agent here, and then alerts are already created for you. Just enable the alert, nothing you have to do. But before that, dbmail should be configured on the server. What happened, man? So here you just keep it as it is. If it is disabled, like this, you should enable it and then go to the response. If you have a dbmail and operators, you can select the operator to who has to get the alert in the event of backup is failed for more than 1 hour. Who has to get the alert? You have to define that. And the secondary, you have to enable the secondary alert, not on the primary itself. Go to the secondary server, enable the alert here if it is not enabled, and then give the response to the operator. That's it. Alerting part will be automatically taken care of. You don't need to do anything. You have to do as a prerequisite is dbmail configuration. If you wanted to get the alert from the within the SQL server itself, you need to configure the dbmail before you do the log shipping. That's what about the alerting. So monitoring using the Msdb tables. Msdb table and the primary, you will read two tables basically in the log shipping, especially two tables. On the primary server, see this is a secondary server. On the secondary, I'm reading the log shipping secondary. This is a table we use many a times for many reasons. I'm going to explain this when we discuss the issues. And also other tables we have discussed, right? Primary. Where is that? I closed it, I guess. On the primary server, select task from log shipping primary databases. That table we will read to find out how many databases are involved log shipping. The rest are all useless. On the primary, you read this table, especially which one, log shipping primary database, this table only. It will tell you how many databases are involved in the log shipping. These are all we don't read it, not just a information purpose. I given the tables which are related to log shipping. On the secondary server, you read log shipping secondary databases, this thing. You have to read this one to find out network path, to find out the local path which was configured for the log shipping. Everything, every detail will be found here. Okay. Log shipping status report. This is what I was saying. That go to report, standard report, click on this. It will display the what is the status of the log shipping basically. Then using the job history. Job history means if the job is failed, it will actually fail here as well. In here also it will fail. When it is failed, it will show the in red. You can also see failed means failed, succeeded means succeeded. The status of the job. So you can also find the why job is not running, or if it is running or not running, you can find from the agent as well. And also you can troubleshoot from the error log. We will see all these options, guys. You will see all of these when I'm going to explain the further issues. So now, as part of log shipping, only users are transferred, not the logins. Logins are not transferred as part of the log shipping. We have seen yesterday. I've created a login. I created a user, and the user was actually automatically transported, but not the login. You have to create the login manually. Migrate the login. How to migrate the logins? We will see in the migrations. So log backup, copy and restore. If any changes are made in the primary server 8 a.m., the max time to reach the secondary is 8:45. The window to update in the secondary is maximum 45 minutes. It does not take that long, but still maximum is 45 minutes. If the table is truncated on the primary server, it will truncate on the secondary also. Whatever it is, truncate, insert, delete, alter, whatever you do, is a completely database level action. Whatever you do, the same thing will reflect on the secondary. Then lock shipping will stop if you change the recovery model from bulk lock to simple. If you change the database recovery model to simple, lock shipping will be broken. Why? Because you cannot take the log backups anymore once you turn the database recovery model to simple. You're not supposed to do that. If you done by mistake, you have to reconfigure the lock shipping again. There is no other options left. This is something keep in mind. If you turn the database recovery model from full to bulk to simple by mistake, then you have to remove the lock shipping and then reconfigure the lock shipping. That must be done. Then these are the issues. If you understand these issues, then no issues are left out of this. And I have the complete list of issues I'm going to explain.
Ravinder,
Yeah,
I have one doubt.
yeah,
In above, you said only logins will be users will be transferred, no logins. I
yes.
didn't get that point actually.
Uh, so logins are server level, right? If I
Yes.
create a login is server level, if I'm mapping that login as a user in the database
Okay.
which is involved in log shipping, that user within the database will be transferred to the target on the
Okay.
secondary, but
Okay.
not the login. Login is at server level in the login list. The
Then it
login
will
is
become
here.
orphan, no?
It will become orphan, exactly. So how do we fix and all? We'll see in the migration, not now, because we have
Okay.
that topic, complete topic. Let's discuss this lock shipping issues first. First, you need to know these two things in the lock shipping. Like if 14420 is raised, then log backup is failed on the primary for more than 1 hour. You need to understand by default. This will be interview question. 14421 means copy or restore job is failing for more than 45 minutes. The number indicates they would ask you a question like this. What is error number 14421 indicates? What is error number 14420 indicates? That explain that in the interview. They will directly ask that number. Okay. And this thing, if there is no disk space in the secondary server for restoring the backups. So let me talk about this. A disk space issue. Let me talk about. So example, when I configure the log shipping, database size is just assume a guess. Database size is 10 GB and the network path size was 50 GB. 50 GB or 100 GB, assume a guess. And every day I'm taking the backup, and here the backups will be maintained for 72 hours. Why 72 hours? That also will be explained, no need to worry. We are maintaining the log backups here. 72 hours means 3 days we are maintaining here. And initially, 3 days backups are also roughly 60 GB. All 3 days log backups together used to consume 60 GB network path, not more than that. As data is growing 10 GB to 100 GB. Why? Because data is growing on the live 100 GB to 200 GB and 300 GB. Then once data becomes 300 GB, then this network path is not sufficient to keep 72 hours data. Yes or no? Why? Because database size is grown, the transactions also will grow. When the transactions will grow, then log file size will grow. When the log file size will grow, then size will not be available. Okay, that is what something you need to keep in mind. Let me just a minute, guy. My brother-in-law is calling. Just a minute.
This conference will now be recorded.
Now this space can be, a space issue can be raised here. Absolutely, it will be raised. Why? Because the network path is not sufficient anymore to perform the backup. Why? Because database size has grown and 72 hours backup are not able to accommodate it here because transaction rate is growing. What do you do in that case? Temporary solution, what do we do? We will do the temporary solution. We'll expand it. You have to get this drive expanded where the share is has been done on the drive. But as a temporary solution, you have to do it when such issues comes up. Log backup will say that insufficient disk space in the network path. Clearly, it will say the job will fail, saying that insufficient disk space in the network drive. As simple as it is. When that happens, what you have to do as an immediate solution? Yes, you have to do something. So basically you have to come to the second server.
And secondary, whatever applied logs are there, you will remove in primary.
Yeah, we don't do that manually. I'll explain it actually. So basically, you go to the secondary server, and then go to the open the network path, open the physical path where the secondary server, okay, and check. Just we will check it actually how many backups are actually transferred. If this is the network path, right, for our servers, this is a physical path. Both are network. This is also, oh, okay, fine. I'll take one of the database because we have the paths here readily available, right, in the query. I'll take this path. I'll close all the unnecessary paths open. Fine. Now I'll take out the other. This is the local path for that. Fine. Now I'll check it out. What is the gap? What is the last LSN is copied up to 50,006 at the end. 50,006. This is a network path. What is the last backup LSN? Then what is the last copied LSN is 909. And then till what point it is copied? 909. Till it is copied till this point. So next, what is the delay here? Only 10 minutes, roughly, 20 minutes. If I delete all of these backups, absolutely fine, no issues at all. But we don't delete like this in the real time. Okay, you don't delete like this. What do you do basically? Go to the server, go to the database where you wanted to delete the log files, because network is flooded and you know that the files are transferred. You have to verify before you do this. We have verified it. We went to the secondary server, we ran this command log shipping secondary and the secondary Msdb, and we've identified the network path and the local path where it is copying, and then we cross verified how many backups are pending basically. If we look at here, it is copied up to 909, and if I look at here, okay, 50,006, so only one, okay, it is copied all. Now it is already all are sync. There will be 1-2 log backups are out of sync, maybe out of, if they are not copied to the secondary. When they are not copied, you can delete all of them, but we don't delete manually. Okay, how do we achieve that? Go to the primary database, go to the properties, and go to the log shipping, transaction log shipping, backup setting. Here by default, delete the files older than 3 days, which is 72 hours. I'll make it 2 days. Once I make it 2 days and click it OK, it will automatically delete all the files from the network path. 24 hours log backups will be deleted and the space will be created. Once the space will be created, the backup will start once immediately. Okay. Still, if it is not creating the space and the space is not sufficient, make it smaller window. Before you make it smaller window, again you verify files have been copied and then everything is done. Okay, so again I'll go to here. If I wanted to make a smaller window, yes, I can do it. 36 hours window I wanted to make it, we can do that.
For this, we need any RFC request for change?
No, this is a solution, not RFC. You're not doing anything extra, you're resolving the issue here. This kind of things does not require RFC. 36 hours. So 36 hours data will be dropped, 36 hours data will be holded. Then space will be created in the network. Then backup will start from there onwards. Whatever the backup was failing, the backup will start running. That's how you resolve the space in the network path.
Okay,
Then what if the
but this is not actually checking at database level whether it is applied in standby or not. Only at OS level, it will check the time and it will delete, right?
yes, OS level is fine because you are
Yeah,
deleting the files from the
but
network,
sometimes
right?
what happens, sometimes we don't have any alerting mechanism and database is out of sync for 2 days. Suppose no one has checked it. And
Hmm.
here we have only 12 hours we have configured. Before 12 hours, all it will remove, right? So
Yes,
this will
yes. That that is what I'm going to explain. 3 hours, why do we keep 3 days data basically? Even if you don't notified, you know, maybe Saturday, Sunday, you might be having holidays. You know, some companies will have a holidays Saturday, Sunday. So in that case, you don't realize that backup is failing, and you know, like log shipping went out of sync, and the files are also cleaned up before you came to know. That should not happen. That's why we maintain the 72 hours logs here. If one log is truncated without transferring it to the target, then log shipping will go out of sync. Chain will break. I'm going to explain that point.
Okay.
We have that point. No need to worry. I'll show that practically. The first thing here is disk space. We are talking about disk space. So now, if I come back to the next discussion, is disk space issue can happen in the local directory as well. This is fine. This has a 600 GB you know, network share, but in the local you have only 300 GB. So local directory is not sufficient to keep all the log backups here. In that case also, what do we need to verify? The backups have been restored or not on the target. So it is not writing the value here. It should write. It is a preview version. That's why it is not writing last copied backup, last restored backup. All that it will write. It is not writing here because of it has some bug. I don't know. It should write. I have worked on the log shipping more than 4 years. I mean, live environment. I know each and every issue that we faced in the whole log shipping. There are 6 to 7 issues blindly. Even if someone is waking up in your sleep, we can resolve it. As simple as it is. If you understand what I'm going to explain.
I think you have given other path due to some same both are going in the same path. You have given other path that you have mentioned or not. I'm not sure.
Where?
While configuring there is a conflict. Both are going while configuring the log shipping.
Yeah, I know, I know,
The
I know, I know. Actually,
two
here I'm
port.
using the same path. This is a conflicting configuration. I know.
Yeah.
Actually, why did I use that? Because I did not create it, and the last minute I configured it. Basically, I should not use that. Every database should have its own backup path, separate backup path. You should not mess up any backup paths in the other one. In that case, log shipping will confuse, and then it will try to find, so you know, correct file every time it is trying to restore. It is unnecessary, you know, trouble. When you're troubleshooting also, it will be very tough which log backup sequence is broken. That's why you should not use the same paths. You always use you know, different paths for the log shipping configuration. So that I have not done yesterday. In the last minute I have done, but try to understand what I'm going to explain. That is important. Paths, absolutely, they should not be the same. Always local directory you should be unique, and the network path also should be unique for all the databases which are in the log shipping. One network path should be given to one log shipping database only, not for multiple. Keep that in mind. Else all copy jobs will copy the other databases log backup unnecessarily. So you have to use that. This is a good catch. Yesterday I did it just in a hurry, so I did not use the different paths. So that's fine. So now what we need to understand is this local drive discussion. So what we have to do, the same thing you have to do. You have to verify that, you know, which log backup is restored here. If it is not showing here, then we can also find in the error log. Might write s1_read error log. It should write, but at least it will write in the error log. So class, if I run this command, this will write all the restored backups as well. So if you look at here, it is written log shipping secondary database class 1 has been restored and 40 minutes and it is out of sync. It is error, it is writing. Okay, it's useless. Lesson. Okay, first lesson is this. It is writing about the log backups here. What is the last backup it is applied? This one. 3007 about class database. Where the 3007? Here it is. Till this point it is restored. All these are not restored yet. So what I'll do, I'll trigger the restore very quickly. So before that, I'll disable this job. This job will unnecessarily flood the error log. This because of bug it is not detecting. I'm disabling, so it will not run anymore. and flood the. What I'm trying to do, I'm going to run the class database, copy. Once you done, all pending will be copied, and I'm going to run the restore for the class. Fine. It will take some time. Okay, it is done. Now I'll come back to the error log. Now we can see what is the last lesson it is restored. 506 it is restored. What is the last lesson here? 506, which means that you are up to the last backup, you are restored. All backups are restored. That's how you can verify. You don't need to read this error log. Basically, this is one of the way of finding it till what point data has been restored. You can find here itself in the report. Go to the report, standard reports, log shipping status in the secondary. It should tell us what is the last restored file number, what is the last copied file number. It is not showing, it is just has a bug. Keep in mind. Still, it is not showing. We can find in the error log. That is a good way. I'm just showing it. It is copied up to before 506. It is copied 50,006. Before that, it is restored 907. You can find them. Actually, they are in the sequential. So where it is 907. So 909, 510. After that, what was restored? 50,006 and 5. So there was no data. That's why it didn't pick up that file. I feel 307, 510, 3075. It will be in the sequential order. No need to worry. So this is 3007, 510. They are in sequential. See, 30007, 510. Before that, 456. I mean, just I'm verifying it. 300 before that 456. See, 456. Before that 4046. They are in the sequential. I am just showing that 4046. See, the sequential order it is restoring. It is also writing that the log entries here, so and so file have been restored. Now, how do I resolve the disk space issue on the secondary? Go to here, properties and the primary database, and then go to the log shipping again. Click on this one, and then change the value here. The same thing like previous, and then data will be automatically dated, and the space will be created on the local drive. That's how you resolve the disk space issue in the log shipping. You have to verify before you clean up files. You have to verify. Okay. You have to verify that is very important to understand. This is about the disk space issue. How do we resolve in the log shipping? Let's move to the different issue. If there is no corresponding paths, this I'll explain as last step. This will be confusing for you guys. Let me talk about this issue. I mean, corresponding path I'm going to explain as a last issue, because this is something will take a lot of discussion. So if there is an ad hoc log backup, if someone is taking the log backup on the primary, then log shipping will break. Why it will break the log shipping? Why? Because you are breaking the chain. If example, let me do this thing very quickly. I'll ask question. Backup log class is the database to disk. Manually, I'm taking into the backup into somewhere in the random path. Maybe I'm taking the backup there, very random path. Fine. If I'm running the log backup manually, if I'm running the job backup, will it break the log shipping actually as I ran the manual backup? Yes or no?
No,
Why no?
we are taking
Well,
ad hoc backup
Because
only,
let me
right?
break.
However, the scheduled one automatically it will replicate, right?
no. If you are taking the manual backup, it is truncating your entries automatically. It is taking the backup, it is truncating your entries from the log file. So that the gap is already there. So the log shipping will break if you are taking any manual backup on the database, manual log backup. So you're not supposed to take any manual backup on the database which is involved in log shipping. So now the log shipping is not broken. Why it is not broken? That is my I am going to explain. Log shipping is not broken. Why? Because there is no transaction gap. I did not do any transactions between the last log backup to current log backup. Okay, I took the log backup. It should break log shipping actually. It did not broke. Why? Because I did not do any transaction. There is no active transaction in the log file. There is no log sequence is broken. So let me do the transaction now. Small entry. A small entry is enough to break the log shipping. It does not have any table. Fine, let me do this. Fine. I'll record and I'll enter just one record. So I did table creation, which is a transaction, and also entering a data. This is also a transaction. Now you have I'm taking as underscore one as a different log backup. Now I'm taking the log backup, and this should break the log shipping. Why? Because I did some transactions. I am taking the manual backup. That transactions will go into the manual backup and they will be truncated. When automated backup runs, it will be taking available transaction to target, but the sequence is broken because of the manual. So now what I'll do, I'll run the class database backup. Fine. Then I'll go to the copy. Then I'll go to the restore of that one. Restore should fail now. It should fail. Is it about the copy only? What happened? At what time? 9:30. Let me go to the class. Do we have table? No. Why it is just went into the success? It should fail. That's what the architecture. I did the transaction on the class only, right? Yes, in the class. And I ran the backup on the class. I failed on the class only. Fine. Class copy. If I would have run the different one, it should fail. Why? It's running the backup. Log backup log on which one I have taken on the primary only. It should break up the log shipping. It's not getting the data and it is not failing. Absolutely worst. Product is not good at all. This should break the log shipping, guys. If it is breaking the log shipping, we can identify the manual backup and then restore that like manual backup manually, and then run the restore. It will run to success. That's how the product should work. Why it is just doing what it is written? Starting the log restore, it should throw an error like the log backup is too recent to apply. Fail to convert the parameter. Skip the backup. Skip the code. There's some issue with this 2019, guys. There must be. Failed to convert the parameter. Could not log the history. convert. It throws an error called it is too recent to apply to the database. Why it is too recent? Because one of the log backup is missing. Oh God, it is a very bad version then. Convert. Not writing that error. If it is erroring, then it'll fail actually. The design is made like that, guys. If you're running any manual backup on the primary server, that should break the log shipping as simple as it is. Why? Because the manual backup will take the transactions, it will truncate the entries from the log file. Once it is truncated, then the log chain will be broken. Once the log chain will be broken, restore will fail. Okay, then how do I know that backups have been generated manually? We can find it actually. How do we find it? Actually, it will tell that where in which which LSN it is failing to restore. See, if I look at here, there is a 506 at the end. It is still 506 only. It is 506. Yeah,
Ravinder, you said that whenever the transactions are not happened, if you take a manual backup, it won't break LSA.
but I have done the transaction right manually.
Yeah, before that you said if there is no transaction, it won't break. When
But I for the
yeah,
next
not
next. Hmm,
I'm not talking about the next scenario
hmm,
previously.
hmm.
Uh, if there is no transaction, also if we take a manual backup, it will get a new LSN number.
No, 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 no. Transaction will have the LSN. By default, it will get the LSN that does not make sense. Why? Because LSN will be given to the valid transaction only, it will count, not for the default server LSN. User transaction
Okay.
LSN.
Okay, then if there are no transaction, how many log backups we take? Those log backups will have the same LSN.
Yes, same LSN, same user transaction LSN. System detects that. So if there is any change in the database when you're taking the log backup, that will break the log chain. That time, if you run the automated backup, automated copy, automated restore, it will fail. When it is failed, at what backup it is failing? At what backup it is failing to apply? Why? Because you have taken the manual backup some point, right? After that backup, there could be many log backups have been generated. See, restore is failing because of broken chain, but then the primary backups will not fail. Backup does not know what was the previous backup, what is next backup. It will just keep taking the backup when the scheduler is running. When you are taking the manual backup, it will run. When the schedule is also running, it will run. It does not know the gap chain. When you are restoring, that will know the chain gap. The restore will fail. In that case, how do we identify? We will come to the primary server when the backup is failed. So example, in this case, we will troubleshoot this issue like this: sp underscore read error log. I should have installed 2014 actually. My setup is corrupted, that's why I installed 2019. It is not a stable product, absolutely. So I'm running this. When I'm running this, I can identify what are the backups have been run. When the backups have been, it will also give the paths. It will also give the paths. Let me disable this job as well. This is unnecessarily writing the lots of events. Right. So now, if you look at here, if I look at here, there is two manual backups. It is not this one. This backup did not go into the network, and this backup also did not go into the network. So where the log shipping should broke at this after this log backup. You know, if the product is working perfect, after this log backup, it will try to restore this backup. Why? Because through system it is generated. No, first it took this backup, next through the system it took this backup. It is trying to restore this backup. It will not restore. Why? Because you took the manual backup in between, which has a valid transaction, which has a valid transaction. You need to identify this location where you have taken the backup manually in the real time. Okay, and then copy this log backup, copy this log backup into the target copy path. you have to copy it manually, and then you have to restore it manually. System will not pick up this format. System only knows the numbers at the end. You have to get this log backup to the target copy folder and then restore manually to bridge the gap. So now I can go to the database, class, task, restore, transaction log from device, where it is actually, just I need to check it. It is in the F log shipping data secondary. F log shipping data secondary. Following, guys? Yes or no?
Yeah. After this backup command is fired, is there any log generated? If the any log generated, then we will face the issue. Otherwise, we
Yeah.
don't face the issue.
Yeah, if someone is taking the log backup by mistake on log shipping database, then you face this issue. No log backup. Okay, which one, which is the path here? If log shipping data one. You have to go to that path and restore. See, if I come to the database, I don't find the table. Still, it is restoring. It should find, it should create the table because we created on the primary. So now if I go to here, where log shipping here, data, where it is, F log shipping, the directory I'm looking for, guys. F log shipping data and
One
secondary.
data one.
Oh yeah, I'm just looking for data, not fine. Secondary, right. Here we copied a backup call which is manual, this one. Okay, class underscore log underscore one dot trn. Select that, and then when you are restoring, it is mandatorily by default with recovery. By default with recovery, you have to restore with standby. It is a mandatory. Why it is standby? Because it is going to build a tough file. What is tough file? I'm going to explain again. Click it. Okay. What it is saying? The log in this backup set begins with a lesson which is too recent to apply to the database. An earlier log backup that includes a lesson can be restored.
Hello.
Yeah.
Why should we restore? We can copy it into the network path. The restore
Why
job.
should it will not pick up this one because it does not have a lesson written at the end of the file. It knows only the numbers. Why it is not picking that? It should. This version is not stable, guys. 100%. I have worked on this for more than 4 years. I know in and out of issues on this product. Where it is. If lock shipping data one. Let me try to do this. What it says. If that has any valid data. Standard. Oh, what did I do? I'm just bridging the gap if I can. If product is fine, well and good, it should work this way only. Which one first? I'll try to restore that. And then standby. Fine. Okay, that has some valid data. Good enough. Now I'll restore this one as well. So now if I go to the database into the table section, I don't find the table yet. Okay, because that does not have a transaction. That backup also had some transaction, some internal transaction whatsoever it is, generally. Now, I'm restoring that. When we restore this, this should bridge the gap, basically. The specified undo file already exists. Do you want it to yes? Why? This is error you get it actually. The log in this backup set begins at this, which is too recent to apply to the database. And you have to find that and then restore. When I'm trying to restore the actual log backup, it is throwing the error. Why it is throwing this error? Class database only. So, this is strangely behaving, guys. It's a very simple issue. We can resolve it actually. This is how we resolve it. When you bridge the gap, it will get restored. You guys can try. Absolutely, it works. Actually, this version is not compatible with this log shipping. I don't know exactly why it is not writing the LSN numbers and all. It should fail basically by design. I'm trying to bridge that gap. So I took the two manual backups. One is without any transaction, one is with transaction. So if I restore the with transaction, that should bridge the gap, and then next subsequent transactions will restore. How do I find that manual backup has been taken? When we are reading this error log, so the backup here, it should complain as per the design. When it is trying to restore this backup, it should complain. It is too recent to apply to this log backup. Whenever you find this, you come to the primary and you find the manual backup here, and then copy this manual backup to the target copy and restore it manually with standby again. That can bridge the gap what was there. Then next, the automated job will restore from this LSN. Till you restore this manually, till you bridge the LSN gap, it will, the next log backups always will fail. That's how the system works. You try it, it works absolutely. I
So
can
Ravindra,
guarantee on.
now log shipping has not broken.
It should broke, but it is not broken actually.
Now, can you explicitly force to generate the logs, and we'll try to restore it again by manually running the
Yes,
jobs?
that is what I did it right. I took the manual backup. Explicitly, I took the manual backup, and then I ran the system backups. System backups. It went and restored without issues. It should not actually. It should not. Why? Because there is a data gap. Data is restored, but I have a table here. I have some data in it. The same data should also reflect here. It is not reflected, and it went to the success, which means that the product is not working as expected. It has some bugs. What I have downloaded, the product has
My,
bugs.
my doubt is maybe after this there is no log as generated. Before logs it has applied. That's why it is successful.
No,
So
no,
maybe
no,
can
no, no.
you
Backups. I ran it actually. If at all you wanted to see, I can go to the class database. Okay, and then I can come to the copy job, run class. See, it ran to success. It should not. Generally, it should not run to success. Why? Because why? Because so we took two manual backups, right? The two manual backups should actually applied. One log backup should be applied, then subsequent log backup should be applied. Log shipping is not working as expected, guys. Here, maybe like you can try it. What I'm trying to say, absolutely it works. What you have to do, go to the database,
the
do one.
after the manual it is test logs are test, not for the class.
Sorry.
Can you go to that path before that log
This
bucket
part.
path? Log backup
Okay.
path.
Uh-huh.
It is test. After the manual backups, it is test, not class.
Yeah, class you are here, you know. Okay, let me see this. Let me see this very quickly. What it has written, let us see this, you know. It is trying to restore class only, see? Not the test. It is picked up all the log backups which are related to class.
But after the manual backup you have done, then there is no log of class, right? So if that log is trying to restore in standby, then it has to fail.
No, 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 no. Actually, it does. It is not following the number. Let me show it. Let me show it very quickly, if at all you wanted to see that. So now I'm going to the system. First, before I run this, let me show it here. What is a LSN? What is a LSN for class? It is 54713, right? 54713. Or else I can go with this like this. Oh, it is jumbling. Okay, name is better. Name is better, but is it going with the time? 9:30, 9:45, 10, 10, 15, right? Okay, fine. It is in the timestamp. Now it is a 9:17, right? 9:17 is a last log backup. As per your doubt, it is not generating a log backup as you said. So now the time is 9:20. I'm running the log backup. Okay. So now if I come back to the folder, not here. See here, it is generated at 9:20, one log backup. Here if I go back here, it is there 713 till this point. Which point? This point. I'm running the copy. It is doing the job, but it is not actually verifying the transactions within the files. That is a drawback in the product. So now if I run the copy, it will copy the file. Absolutely, it is copying it. You can see that in the copy folder you find this number 5005, here 5005. Now restore should fail. Restore should fail actually. It is restoring it as well. Why it is restoring, that Microsoft knows. The product should work that way. If I read their log on the class on secondary, I will find that log file number at the end. See here, 50005 is restored. It should not restore. If it is not restored, it will not show in the list. It is your log backup was restored. It is written class creation LSN master of device information disk. So it is written here in the log file where I'm reading. Sorry, I need to read in the secondary here. Okay.
We can get this from the standard reports also, no? Log.
Yeah, actually, it is not showing actually. That is what the product is not behaving how it has to be. So it is restored till this 50.6 till 506. What it is in last 506 till this point it is restored.
Hello.
It is not restored. Yeah.
Is there any automatic backup between these two manual backups?
Is there any
Automated backup between these two manual backups?
automated? The log shipping is taking out, right?
Yeah, we are restoring the two manual backups. Maybe after the first manual backup, there could be any automated log backup.
We are verifying on the primary, right? So primary, if I look at here, it is primary. And if I look at here, what is the log backup between the manual? So if I look at here, this is the one. Okay, before this, in between, there is one log backup, which is a 2741 automated log backup. Let us do this one. If it is following that sequence, generally, I have worked on this technology. Really, I know this, like solution. I have done many a times. If there is no transaction, lock skipping should not broke. If there is any transaction, active transaction, then only it should break. You try it in your laptop, which is in
Yeah,
2014.
because it's
Absolutely, it
following
works.
the LSN, na, last transaction number. On the last transaction number only, we are taking the log backup. Depends upon the
Yeah,
LSN.
but LSN correct, but if it does not have any active data, that does not make any
Yeah,
sense,
we
basically.
don't have any transaction, then we didn't get any transaction number. No?
Yes, we don't get any LSN for active transaction. So that should not break the LSN even if you are taking the log backup, basically. That's how the system design works. You try it, guys, absolutely it works. What you have to do, take one manual backup. Let me close it off. This one. If it doesn't work, let me know. You take one manual backup. Don't do anything on the database. So before you do any change, just run the automated backup and then run the copy job and run the restore. Then after that, you run one manual backup without doing anything on the database. Again, run the backup job, run the copy job, run the restore job. It will go to success. But then afterwards, do one transaction, take the manual backup and then do the automated backup, automated copy, automated restore. That will fail. Till you restore this one, the next log backups will fail forever. So how do I know that this backup is generated? The system in the restore will tell you what backup is failing to restore. So I'll come back to the primary server. Before that log backup, what was happened? I can find the manual backup. That manual backup can be copied to the target and then restored manually with standby. Then subsequent log backup will catch up automatically. Following anything?
Yes.
So that's how you do the R&D same way. It will work. Absolutely, it works. So let's move to the other one. There is, ad hoc log backup. See what happens if there is a 9 a.m. log backup has run, 9:15 next will run, but 9:10 someone has run the manual backup that can broke the log shipping. Restore the first ad hoc log backup which was taken at 9:10 manually in secondary server with standby mode. Restore the next log backup which was generated by the log shipping. You don't need to restore. The job will trigger. It will fix the issue. Next, if the agent service or Msdb is not working, then jobs will not run. You don't find the data. Let's talk about the tough file. What is tough file? Transaction undo file. Tough file means transaction undo file. So let's come back to here. I have an explanation. How does tough file works? So tough file is something, a transaction undo file, which is created when we configure the log shipping. If the secondary database is in standby mode only, tough file will be created when the database is in standby mode only. If the database is in restoring mode, all changes, committed, uncommitted, will be applied to database because no one is reading it. Even the uncommitted transactions also applying to database, there is no harm. Why? Because no one is reading when the database is in restoring mode. When it is in standby mode, people are reading it. So you need to ensure that valid data is there in the data file. The file is created in the copy restore target. See, the file is created basically in the secondary server data files. Where the data files of this database? It is, I mean, okay, here it is. Go to here. I've restored this database somewhere, I guess. But still, let me verify that. There should be a tough file. See here, tough file. What does this tough file do? What does this tough file do? I'm going to explain that. It is created in the secondary server data file log file directory basically. Tough file contains the information regarding any modification that are made as part of the incomplete transaction at the time of backup was performed. Assume a case that you have a log file. Log file has one committed transaction, one uncommitted transaction, one committed, one committed. Total 4 transactions in your log file. You take the log backup, all will be captured into the log file, log backup. Committed, uncommitted, committed, committed, all will go into the log backup. Log backup will capture all entries from the log file, but it will truncate only committed. That is there. Keep in mind. Log backup will capture all transaction whatever exists, but it will truncate entries which are committed. It will leave the entries in the log file which are uncommitted. When it is restoring a restore job, it will apply the committed transactions to the database. Three transactions are committed in the log backup, 3 will be applied. One transaction is uncommitted, that uncommitted transaction will go into the tough file. Understand? So when we are taking the log backup, log file can contain the committed, uncommitted transaction, and log backup will capture all transaction, committed or uncommitted, irrespective of the transaction. It will just capture the entries. Whenever we are restoring on the secondary database in standby mode, people are reading it. If the uncommitted transaction is applied to the database, which is a wrong data, so that's why system automatically redirect the uncommitted transaction to tough file and committed transaction to data file, so that whoever is reading the data here, that data is absolutely correct data, not wrong data. Till what time this uncommitted transaction will be in the tough file? If it is not committed in the next log backup also, still it will remain in the tough file. It might be committed in the next log backup. Whenever it comes as a committed transaction, it will apply to database, then that entry will be truncated from the tough file.
Ravinder, Ravinder, suppose if tough file got deleted means so log shipping chain will not work, right?
Log shipping will fail, you have to reconfigure right from the beginning.
Okay, if tough file got deleted, okay, in that case log shipping will not work, right?
Will not work, yes.
Okay.
Restore will fail, backup will run, copy will run, but restore will fail. When the restore runs, tough file, it will verify for the tough file. So tough file is not available, restore will not happen.
Okay.
So if you have to build the tough file again, you have to restore the full backup again in standby mode. It will build the tough file automatically. But what is a tough file? Tough file functionality, understood what is the meaning of tough file here? Why the tough file is there?
It contains uncommitted transaction.
Transaction undo file.
Yeah, transaction undo file, but log backup will capture the committed, uncommitted transaction at the time of the backup. When it is restoring on the secondary database in standby mode, only committed transaction should apply to the data file, and uncommitted transactions will go into the tough file, and it will remain there till it is committed in the further log backup. That's how we have to explain. Okay, that is a tough file functionality. So this is something you need to understand, tough file issue. If it is corrupted, what you have to do? You have to take the full backup again, restore the database in standby mode, and then tough file will get recreated, and then jobs will run automatically. You don't need to reconfigure everything. You have to just take the full backup and restore in standby mode. The configuration is already there. It will pick up. No need to do the go to the database, primary, secondary, adding it. That not required. Once you configure, the configurations are already there, jobs are already there. You only disable the jobs first. Don't enable the jobs. Copy job, backup job, restore, disable them. Take the full backup, restore on the secondary database in standby mode. It will build the tough file and enable the job. Job will run successfully. No need to configure it again. Okay, that is a tough file issue solution. In any T-log backups, missing or corrupted, what you have to do again, you have to take the full backup and then reinitialize. If any of the one of the log backup is corrupted or deleted, there is no way of recovering it. Take the full backup again, restore in standby mode, and subsequent log backup will automatically restore. Nothing you have to do. Reinitialize the full backup with standby. That's it. In the same case, tough file also the same solution. Missing the log backup is also the same solution. Network outage between the primary server and secondary server due to firewall outage. This is something out of exception. Like what does that is saying is, let me explain this here. If network firewall is not allowing you to write the backup here, network firewall is not allowing you to copy it, then go to the network team and ask them, this path is not accessible on this from this server. Please unblock this path from the network firewall. sorry, like they are blocking it, you have to unblock. You have to follow with the network team. You don't need to do anything in this with this issue. The rest you have to do. So what I have not discussed is only this path. If there is no respective paths, this is something we need to understand. Very, very important. What I'll do, this is the last issue. I'm going to conclude the complete log shipping. No need to worry. Once it is done, it will be a bit late, but I will finish it today. So now what I'll do, I'll go to the primary server, but this will not restore, I feel, because it is not applying the changes. I don't know why. If I create a class 1, let me create here. So now what I'll do, I'll go to the database. I'll go to the properties. I'll go to the files. I'm going to add a new file on the primary database. Testing. Okay. This logical files are testing. Why? Because it was restored from testing. Fine. I'm adding one extra file, extra data file on the primary database. Now this will fail. This restore will fail here. It should fail, but here what it is doing, I need to check it. Copy backup is done. And then copy is done. Restore should fail. Okay, it is failed. Excellent. This is what I'm expecting, and it worked. At least with this issue worked good enough. So you follow whatever I said, it absolutely works. You do the lab, it absolutely works. Now what is the error I need to find? Go to view history, and then it will tell us at the error. Not at the error, you have to go one by one. This is something, like in the log shipping, you have to do some, like homework to find the error. So here it is not the error, it is not error here. Failed to convert, here also it is not there. Retrieve the database settings, last restored, and retrieve the second if. Mhm. It has some errors, guys. Convert something, it is writing unnecessary errors. To fail to convert to parameter. That parameter, what is that parameter? Even I'm not getting. So one by one, you have to go through to find what exactly the reason it is failing. It should throw that, like the file cannot be created. The file is already being used by another process, kind of. I don't think this product is built for log shipping anymore based on this fail to convert parameter. Skip the backup, fine. It should throw that the file is being accessed by another. Skipped it is showing. It is skipped. Fine. You have to go one by one to find the error. Log shipping. I'm looking for the error. Mhm. It is talking about convert, useless errors. Those are. Mhm. Skipped only. Right. It is written here. This is what I'm looking for. So could not apply the log backup this 606 to the secondary database to class 1. Why it is not able to do it? A database, see a database, it stand by was not accessible to the restore statement. Operating system error. The process cannot access the file because it is being used by another process. Which one? I created a file. Which one? Extra file. That file it is trying to create in the same directory with the same name. The machine is same. It is going to the same directory, same path, and same file name. The same path, same file name is already claimed by the primary database. See, I created extra file in the primary. Here, this is the file I have created extra, and it exactly record in the log file. It will record exactly the path what is there here. Okay, it will record all the path directory, and then it will move to the target. It will trying to restore in the same path. Same path, same file name is already claimed by the primary database in this system. In the real time, if the same paths are available, it will restore without issues in the real time. If you don't have the same paths in the real time, then log shipping will fail. Same path means, let me explain this bit of, this is the last topic mostly. The rest are easy. So I have one server and another server. And here data file you added a D drive, example data 1 drive in the D drive. Here if I look at D drive I have, but I have only a data folder. So directory is not same. I added a file in the primary server in this one as a log something kind of. This entry, complete entry will be backed up into log file, and then when it is trying to restore it will try to look for the same path here as well. D data 1, D data 1. It should match. Why? Because it is there in the log. It is trying to match the same path does not exist in the real time. If path exists, it will restore. But in our machine, it path exists. Absolutely, the path exists, but in the same path, the primary already created the file, same file. That's why it is throwing the error. Following? ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుందంటే ఇక్కడ నేను ఒక ఫైల్ క్రియేట్ చేసిన విచ్ వన్ testing_2 అని. ఆ ఫైల్ అనేది ఆల్రెడీ ప్రైమరీ సర్వర్ క్లెయిమ్ చేసుకుంది అదే పాత్ లో. సెకండరీకి వచ్చి కూడా అదే పాత్ లో అదే ఫైల్ నేమ్ తో క్రియేట్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేస్తుంది. అది ట్రై చేసినప్పుడు ప్రైమరీ ఆల్రెడీ క్లెయిమ్ చేసుకున్న ఫైల్ ని ఇది కూడా క్లెయిమ్ చేయలేదు కదా, అందుకోసం ఇక్కడ ఎర్రర్ ఇచ్చింది. the process cannot access the file because it is being used by another process, which is actually it is complaining it. Which log backup it is not able to restore? You need to find this 60,006. I'll restore that manually. We can do that. Confusing or following, guys? Tell me. I feel I'm expecting you guys are following.
Confusing,
Tell me.
In real time, we will have
Confusing.
the same drives and paths in primary and secondary as well, right? So there will not
If
be any.
there is no rule that you can have, you may not have. There are issues also. I have seen there was no paths. We did not realize when we configured. When the issue came up, we realized and fixed the issue. It is
Yeah,
saying
then
that
we'll request the Windows team to create the same folder, right?
no, that's not the way. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to fix it. So what is the log? It is trying to restore 60,006. This is the error. Could not apply this log backup. So now I can find that 60,006. Okay, not and the class 1 database we are checking, right? Okay, and this is use Msdb. I'll show the solution for this. Select asterisk from log shipping secondary databases. When you run this, you can find log shipping secondary database. And this one, secondary database, of course. What? Okay, I'm reading in the primary. Useless. I need to read in the secondary. This. Fine. Secondary. secondary this thing. Fine. Class 1, we are looking for this database.
So, Ravindra, is it like it is showing like whatever the database configured in secondary server, Ravindra?
Yes,
That command.
exactly. This command will show what are the database are configured, what is the network path, what is the local path, everything will it will display.
Oh, okay, okay.
We use this command. I'm using always if you observe it. So which log backup? This log backup it is trying to restore and it is failing here, right? So I'll try to restore that manually and the secondary. To fix this issue, what I'll do, I'll go to the class 1, restore transaction log backup from device, and where that file is sitting actually. It is sitting in the F log shipping data. Okay, got it. Where it was log shipping data, and here it is. And where it was failing up actually, it was failing on this one. Okay. And if I'm trying to restore, click it OK, it should throw the same error. What is error? The process cannot be accessible, the file cannot be accessible kind of error.
We need to
What?
convert this one. It is not. It is not giving issue here.
What? What is this version of the SQL Server? I'm seriously getting fed up. It should throw the error, but let me try to see it, what it is doing. It did not create the file. That's fine. So is it the right
So,
one?
okay, most of the companies, so which version using Ravindra as of now?
16, 17 is max. 19 is
2007.
preview.
Oh, okay. So it is not at any SP1, SP2. Mm,
Yes.
okay.
So let me, okay. How come this ran to success? This is strange, quite strange thing, man. This version is not at all good for the demo class. People think that I'm not discussing the right things. A process cannot accessible. Then how come this went into success? Useless. Uh-huh. No. There is a method to do for that restore. Basically, in the next restore, it went to success. How come? It's not a good version to discuss as a demo. I have to install different versions for this issue to show you. But what I have to do, I'll give you the video where I have discussed this. I can do it. But this job is failed and it should be failed till I bridge that gap. Uh-huh. Okay, let's check the different one or what. It's failed only. I tried a different thing or what. Which one? Could not apply the log backup 450 to the secondary database. And here, the previous one. Accessible. Operating system 606. And here it is complaining about 450. What I have as a log 450 is here. Okay, maybe it is carry forward or what. Let me find and then try to do with that file. It is a strange version altogether. It will not restore, you have to do it manually. How do we do it manually? That is what the discussion all about. Backups. Where it was log shipping data, or here it is. This is a class one, right? I'll try to pick this one and do the thing. Let's see. The space field end of. Right, it is throwing. This is the error I'm looking for. Okay, the operating system returned the error. The process cannot access the file because it is being used by which file? This file. See, like if you look at here, it is trying to restore in the MSSQL2. See, MSSQL 15.SQL2 in the primary server default directory. But I wanted to migrate it to the new path. So you have to take, when it is giving this kind of error when you're doing, take the script, okay, and then go to the secondary server, paste it. This is how you resolve it. At least good, it is carry forwarded to the next file. Okay, fine, this is how it has. So now what I'll do, let me explain this. So here I have to read the logical names. What is the command to read the file structure from the backup? Tell me, you should know by this
File
time.
list only.
Yeah, very good. Restore file list only is a command for reading the existing backups. So now I'll read this file. So it is showing that 3 files, but if I look at here, it has only 2 files, right? So which file is an extra? This file is an extra, and that file where I wanted to move, actually I can move it wherever I wanted. Move to, you have to move it manually basically. This is an extra file. You can build it with the log file also, extra file. So where I have to move it, the server default path, where it is sitting up, the server default path, not the original one. Fine. And what is the file name? Testing underscore 2.ndf. I'm building the file and the second is database manually. You no need to ask the Windows team to create the same directory. You have to do this way. Take the script, when you're running that, it will fail, right? It failed and took the script, and then I'm reading the backup file to find how many files are there. I came to know that one is extra, and I'm creating that extra file with moving it when I'm restoring the log file. And I said standby. I'm doing the restore now, like this. This can fix the issue. Now if I come back here, then I can go to here, and then a file will be there. Now if I run the restore, it will run seamlessly. It will catch up with the next log backups. It will not fail anymore. You fix the issue. You move the file manually to the target.
Okay, if any file paths are different in primary to standby, we just
You
restore
have to
it
follow
to
this
the.
method.
Okay,
It
you are
like in the
converting the
log,
path, right?
yeah, I'm converting to the local path by moving it. So when the restore is failed, it is said on which log backup it is failed. So you have to catch that log backup and then restore it that manually. So I catch it here. The 450 was verified but could not apply to the database. Why it could not be applied? It is said that process cannot be accessed because the file is being used by another process. Whenever you see this error in the log shipping, then you need to identify that someone is added an extra file, that same directory does not exist in the secondary, and you follow this method. As simple
Every
as
time
it is.
every time when we add the file to the primary server, we have to do like this
Yeah,
only.
not every time. If you have the same directories like this, if you have a d data one here also, you don't need to do that. It automatically restore. Whenever the paths are not same, then you have to do that.
In my
Render, I have one
organization,
doubt.
many times we have blamed the Windows team. If any time database went out of sync, we have blamed Windows team and we asked them
Uh,
to create the
you
same path.
cannot blame as such. They don't know like how many servers are built. What is the technologies are you configuring it? It
Because
is our
in
response.
because actually while initial stage itself, our requirement is that in primary and standby there is a same path we need. So whatever you are adding the space, or whatever you are adding a drive, or whatever you are doing in primary, the same thing we are also requiring in standby as well. So that is the main thing, no?
Actually, standby is for only one database, not for the whole server, right? This was not the prerequisite before we build a server. Later on, we build this configuration, not during the server configuration. So you may find the servers which does not have the same directories. That time you have to follow like this, and then we cannot escalate it to anyone. This is our job to fix it.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
Yeah,
నాకు డౌట్ ఉంది.
చెప్పండి.
ఎప్పుడైతే మనం ఫైల్ యాడ్ చేస్తామో జనరల్గా
ఉమ్,
ఆ ఫైల్ ఫుల్ అయితే మళ్ళీ నెక్స్ట్ టైం మనం ఫైల్ యాడ్ చేసేటప్పుడు
ఉమ్.
అంటే మనం ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఫైల్ ఇప్పుడు MDF 1కి కాకుండా MDF 2కి ఆటోమేటిక్గా వెళ్ళిపోతుందా, లేకుంటే మనం ఏమైనా స్టాప్ చేయాల్సింది ఎలా ఏమైనా ఉంటుందా?
ఏది ఉండదు, ఆటోమేటిక్. పాత్ సేమ్ ఉంటేనేమో ఆటోమేటిక్, డైరెక్టరీ సేమ్ ఉండాలి. ఆ సర్వర్లో ఈ సర్వర్లో ఇక్కడ డి డేటా ఉంటే డి డేటాలో ఒక ఫైల్ యాడ్ చేస్తున్నాం. ఒక ఫైల్
నేను లాక్ షిప్పింగ్ గురించి మాట్లాడట్లేదు. మామూలుగా ఇప్పుడు ఒక డిస్క్ లో MDF 1 ఉంది అనుకుందాం, ఒక డేటాబేస్ కి. అంటే MDS 1 ఉంది అనుకుందాం, అది ఆ డిస్క్ ఫుల్ అవుతుంది. ఆ డిస్క్ ఫుల్ అవుతుందని చెప్పినప్పుడు మనం ఇంకొక ఫైల్ ఇంకొక డిస్క్ లో క్రియేట్ చేసాం.
డేటా స్వైప్ చేయడం కోసం క్రియేట్ చేసినాం. ఓకే, అయితే
అయితే ఆటోమేటిక్ గా డేటా ఇంకో డిస్క్ వెళ్ళిపోతుందా?
వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. నీకు అదే కదా నీకు నేను ఫైల్ గ్రూప్ లో చెప్పింది, ఆటోమేటిక్ వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. అంటే స్ట్రైప్ అవుతుంది డేటా. ఇప్పుడు నాకు ఇక్కడ డేటాబేస్ ఉంది, డేటాబేస్ ఫైల్ ఉన్నాయి. ఈ ఫైల్స్ అని ఒకటే ఫైల్ గ్రూప్ బిలాంగ్ అయితే ఆటోమేటిక్ గా డేటా అన్నిటికీ ఈక్వల్ గా వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. డేటా దీనికి ఈక్వల్ వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. ఈ దాంట్లోకి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది, ఈ దానికి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. ఈ దానికి వెళ్ళకుండా ఉండాలంటే ఏం చేయాలి? నువ్వు రిస్ట్రిక్ట్ చేయాలి.
అది రిస్ట్రిక్ట్ కాదు అంటే నేను అనేది, ఒకవేళ ఇప్పుడు ఒక డేటాబేస్ ఉంది, డేటాబేస్ కి MDF ఫైల్ ఉంది, ఆ ఫైల్ ఫుల్ అయిపోయింది. ఫుల్ అయినప్పుడు నేను ఏం చేస్తున్నా అంటే ఇంకో MDF ఫైల్
ఇంకో ఫైల్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తున్నావు, బట్ ఆ ఫైల్ గ్రూప్ మ్యాటర్ ఇక్కడ. ఫైల్ కాదు, ఏ ఫైల్ గ్రూప్ అది అటాచ్ అవుతుంది. ఆ ఫిల్ అయిన ఫైల్ ఏదైతే ఉందో అదే ఫైల్ గ్రూప్ లో ఈ ఫైల్ యాడ్ చేస్తేనే స్ట్రైప్ అవుతుంది. అది వన్ ఫైల్ గ్రూప్ ఉంది, ఇది వన్ ఫైల్ గ్రూప్ ఉంటే స్ట్రైప్ అవ్వదు. మళ్ళీ ఫైల్ గ్రూప్ మ్యాటర్ ఇక్కడ. ఫైల్ గ్రూప్ ఈ రెండు ఒకటే ఫైల్ గ్రూప్ లో ఉన్నప్పుడు మాత్రం రెండింటికి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది డేటా.
ఓకే,
అర్థమైందా?
అర్థమైంది. నేను అడిగేది ఏంటంటే, ఇప్పుడు ప్రైమరీ ఫైల్ గ్రూప్ లోనే MDF ఫైల్ ఒకటి ఉంది, అది అది ఒక డిస్క్ లో ఉంది, అది ఫుల్ అవుతుంది. మళ్ళీ ఇంకొక ఫైల్, ఆ ప్రైమరీ కిందనే ఇంకొక ఫైల్ క్రియేట్ చేసాం మనం. అయితే ఆ ప్రైమర్ లో ఫస్ట్ ఫైల్ కి డేటా వెళ్ళకుండా మొత్తం సెకండ్ ఫైల్ కే వస్తుందా?
మొత్తం వెళ్ళదు, ఈక్వల్ గా డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ అవుతుంది. అది కూడా ఫిల్ అయ్యేదాకా వెళ్ళిపోతుంది దాంట్లో కూడా ఈక్వల్ గా. అలా అవ్వకుండా ఏం చేయాలంటే, అలాంటి క్రిటికల్ డిస్క్ లో ఎక్స్పాండే చేయలేము అనుకున్నప్పుడు దీన్ని రిస్ట్రిక్ట్ చేయాలి. ఇంకా మొత్తం 0 వెళ్ళేదాకా చూడొద్దు కదా దాన్ని రిస్ట్రిక్ట్ చేసి ఆటోమేటిక్గా నెక్స్ట్ ఫైల్కి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది.
ఎలా రిస్ట్రిక్ట్ చేయడం?
ఇక్కడ ఉంది కదా, ఇక్కడ వెళ్ళేసి ఇక్కడ ఆటో గ్రోత్కి వెళ్ళేసి నువ్వేం చేయాలి, ఇక్కడ ఇన్% ఉంది, లిమిటెడ్ టు అని పెట్టేసి దాని సైజ్ కరెక్ట్ ఎంత ఉందో దానికి ఒక 10 MB పెట్టేసి రిస్ట్రిక్ట్ చేసిపోయాలి. ఇంతకంటే ఎక్కువ గ్రో అవ్వదు. ఇంకా అన్లిమిటెడ్ లో ఉంటుంది, లిమిటెడ్ చేయాలి అంతే.
లిమిటెడ్ నుంచి మళ్ళీ సెకండ్ ఫైల్కి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది డేటా.
ఆటోమేటిక్ సెకండ్కి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. ఇంకా ప్రైమరీ టచ్ చేయదు, ఎందుకంటే ఆల్రెడీ నువ్వు లిమిట్ చేసినావు. ఆ లిమిట్ కూడా ఫిల్ అయిపోయింది. ఇంకా నెక్స్ట్ ఫైల్స్కి వెళ్ళిపోవడం స్టార్ట్ చేస్తుంది ఆటోమేటిక్.
నేను డాక్యుమెంట్ లో అలా ఇచ్చాడు. ఒకవేళ 200 GB పెరుగుతుందంటే ఇంకొక ఫైల్ క్రియేట్ చేయాలని చెప్పి ఇచ్చాడు మామూలుగా.
దాన్ని రిస్ట్రిక్ట్ కూడా చేయాలి. చేయకపోతే నువ్వు ఇంకో ఫైల్ క్రియేట్ చేసి కూడా అంత బెనిఫిట్ ఇవ్వదు, ఎందుకంటే ఇక్కడ ఈక్వల్ గా అవుతుంది. అది ఫ్రీ స్పేస్ ఉందా లేదా చూసుకోదు. ఇది ఫిల్ అయ్యేదాకా ఈక్వల్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ చేసుకుంటూ వెళ్ళిపోతూ ఉంటుంది. అప్పుడు 0 అయిపోతుంది డిస్క్. మేబీ డేటాబేస్ కెనాట్ రెస్పాండ్ ఆల్సో, ఎందుకంటే బైట్స్ మొత్తం లాక్ అయ్యేదాకా చూసుకోవద్దు మనం. అట్లీస్ట్ సమ్ స్పేస్ ఉండేలా చూసుకోవాలి. సో అట్లీస్ట్ ఒక 100 MB అయినా ఫ్రీ స్పేస్ ఉండాలి డిస్క్ లో, లేదంటే డిస్క్ రెస్పాండ్ అవ్వకపోవచ్చు.
అలర్ట్స్ వస్తుందా మనకు అప్పుడు? ఇప్పుడు మాకేమో 100 సర్వర్స్ ఉంటాయి కదా, అలర్ట్స్ వస్తుందా ఇలాంటి?
ఉంటాయి, డిస్క్ అలర్ట్స్ ఉంటాయి కదా. డిస్క్ 70% ఫిల్, 90% కి నీకు డిస్క్ అలర్ట్స్ ఉంటాయి కదా.
ఓకే,
సో డిస్క్ లెవెల్ అలర్ట్స్ ఫైర్ చేస్తూ ఉంటాయి. దాన్ని అప్పుడే అంత లోపలనే ఒకవేళ నువ్వు రియలైజ్ అయితే ముందే రిస్ట్రిక్ట్ చేసి పెట్టాలి. డిస్క్ అలర్ట్ దాకా వెయిట్ చేయొద్దు.
ఎన్ని సర్వర్స్ ఉన్నప్పుడు పని చేయడం కదా?
Go ahead. Question. Someone is asking.
Yeah, Ravinder.
Yes.
I have faced two issues. One One thing is primary database and one data file is created or something, some transaction is happened in standby
Mm,
database, the same drive. It has to
mm,
create the same file in a standby. In that particular
mm,
drive, someone has not cleared something or someone has dumped some data.
mm,
Application team or someone has dumped some data into that particular drive. So due to
mm,
some insufficient space,
mm, mm,
primary we have space in that drive, but in standby, someone has
mm,
dumped some data in that drive. So due to that,
mm.
database went out of sync. So this is
Yes,
the
it will.
issue we have faced.
Yeah, it will. In that case, you have to expand the drive. No other options left. When you
Okay.
expand the drive, it will go to into sync. Else, it will not. Or
Okay.
else you have to clean up the application data. There is no option. Why? Because same space it has to be there on the secondary as well. If not, you have to expand. As simple as it is.
Okay. And one more thing, uh, log, it is venting. It's some log backup. Every log it is like in KBs, right? Sometimes
Mm-hmm,
due to bulk operations, one log file itself it is going up to 1 GB, 2 GB like that. Due to that,
mm-hmm,
also it is not able to apply, and recovery will taking too much time. So job is
mm-hmm.
getting failed. So this is the issue also we have faced. So how to restrict to grow? It should not grow like in GBs transaction. Can we restrict or we can do something
You
about it?
cannot restrict. You have to take the more frequent log backup to not to grow.
Okay.
That is the only option. You cannot. Transactions are coming. You cannot stop. Right.
Yeah, but even see, we have the backups, log backups scheduled in every 5 minutes, but
Mm.
still it is growing in GBs. Every time it is in KBs only, but sometimes when they run the batch job, sometimes it is
Mm.
going in GBs. It's growing in
GBs.
GBs.
So that time
Yeah.
some bulk operations are going on. You have to, it will be GBC because it is doing the bulk operations and it is in full recovery model. So it will generate. So what is the issue in that?
No issue, but due to that log file, so it will take time to apply in the recover in standby, right?
Yes, it
Yeah,
will
2
take
GB, 3
time.
GB log, it will take time, right? So,
Yeah, let it take. What is the problem with it? There is no problem.
no, means suppose this 4 GB data means we cannot afford to lose the data, right? To recover. Suppose something happens, this 4 GB data will lose, right?
Whatever it is, you have the backup, right? The even database is crashed, you have the
Hmm.
data in the backup directory in the through the log backup. Though database is
Okay.
crashed,
Here you
we
can
are
see.
we are
Here
in
you can see
safe.
all 91 KBs, right? So we
Yeah.
cannot do anything about it. Like
You,
this log size should be same. Like that we can set up anything or it is not in our control.
it is not in our control. It is absolutely, whatever is on the primary, whatever the sizes are there on the primary, it is the same apply to the secondary also. If you shrink on the primary, it will, when the restore is happens, it will shrink on the secondary as well. You don't need to shrink.
Okay.
Everything as, whatever is there in the primary, it is exact copy. File sizes, files, everything.
Okay.
So if you wanted to string the log file, you string in the primary, it will automatically string in the secondary. You have to copy, run the backup job, copy job, restore job. It will create the free space in secondary when you string in the primary.
Okay.
It is like that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, guys. So tomorrow I'll conclude complete lock shipping in 10 minutes. But for now, we have completed all the issues. Let me reconclude. Like we have seen the this year, these are the errors basically. 14420 indicates backup failure. 14421 indicates copy job and restore job failure. And if there is a disk issue, what and all we can do, we have discussed, right? We have discussed network disk issue, local disk issue we have seen. And if there is no corresponding path, we have to do it manual restore by moving the file to the target path. If it is a manual backup, you have to find the manual backup and restore manually. And tough file, Msdb's agent is down, we have to troubleshoot to make the service up. Tough file, if it is corrupted or deleted, you have to reinitialize the full backup as in standby mode in the secondary. It will build the tough file. If any of the log backup is corrupted or missing, you have to do it manually. It will reconfigure the log shipping again. Nothing you have to do. Just to restore the full backup with standby mode and run the jobs, it will run automatically. Nothing else you have to do. Network is something it is not in our hand. You have to follow with the network team. Performing the failover quickly tomorrow I'll discuss. and tough file already been discussed. Work file, let me explain very quickly and then move on. Work file is actually whenever the copy is in progress, network path is actually, network bandwidth is very low, copy can take longer than expected. That time the copying file means copy is in progress, should not be picked by the restore job. Why? Because it is an incomplete file. So during that time the backup file extension will be WRK work file. See here, the WRK work files are produced when transaction log backup are being copied from backup location to secondary server. Once the copy job copies the entire transaction log backup, then it is renamed to the .trn extension. The temporary naming using the WRK extension ensures that file is not picked by the restore job until successfully copied. This is completely explaining it. I'm going to send this document with today's video. No need to worry. So this has all the details. Tomorrow I'll conclude the failover process and then move to the mirroring.
Hello.
Ravindra,
Yeah.
please don't forget send the total documentation. Actually, I require. Why? Because within 14 days I have to report to another project.
Yeah. I'll send this document. No need to worry.
Okay, please. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's
Hello.